If you too are a glass jar saver, consider bringing them out of hiding. Here's how I'm going to showcase jars with helpful and unique ideas. Here's how I'm going to gain more space inside my kitchen utensil drawer while making the kitchen more productive and pretty. I'm arranging a couple of like-minded jars on the counter, then selecting all the wooden spoons to place in the jars. Using a funnel, I'm filling the jar up with sugar. Now I'm selecting a mid-sized jar with an airtight seal lid, pouring my coffee beans inside. And my lovely little kitchen counter corner is now proudly showcasing kitchen essentials in a pretty way. I love how the jars allow the contents to take the stage while making my items easy to see and reach for in a jiffy. I'd like prettier soap dispensers that chime in better with my home decor. I'm gathering up some soap pumps from various containers I have in my stash. I'm now selecting a soda bottle, dry fitting the different pumps to get a good fit. Next, I'm reaching for a small jar with a black lid. I'm placing the lid on a piece of scrap wood, then using a hammer and nail to create an indent in the middle. Reaching for a drill bit the size of the pump neck, I'm using the lid indent to hold my drill in place, then drilling a hole through the lid. With the pump installed through the lid, I'm cutting the feeder tube length shorter until it fits inside the jar. The vintage soda bottle is styled perfectly for a room filled with antiques and rustic charm. And the little jar soap dispenser now blends right in with my kitchen decor without taking up lots of space. It's easy to move around where needed and equally easy to see when it needs topping up. Here's how I'm going to have a few garden essentials handy right where I need them most. I'm selecting a shallow clay pot and waterproofing the hole by pushing a metal plate inside. Reaching for a stencil with circles, I'm stenciling random white dots all over the outside of the pot. With my hand placed inside a mason jar, I'm painting the jar in white using 2 coats. Then once dry, I'm staining it and wiping the stain back until it leaves a slightly distressed look. I'm now filling the painted jar with an X-Acto blade, garden string, a Sharpie, and some wooden garden tags. And I'm now the proud owner of the cutest little garden mushroom, keeping all my gardening supplies handy, hidden, and protected from the weather. No more running back indoors for me. Lastly, here's a sweet treat delivered and served up in style. A lovely fresh cake from the local deli is being measured against a pretty jar opening, then cut so it fits inside. I'm slicing the bottom of the strawberry, then placing it on top of the cake. Now I'm carefully lowering the jar over the top to act as a cloche. The plate is being placed on top of a black and ivory ribbon. Now the ribbon is being tied to the top of the jar with the ends being trimmed on an angle. And that is how to deliver and serve up a special treat for a friend. The jar encases the cake, making it look so pretty, while the plate is ready for them to enjoy a full indulge. It's such an easy, pretty, and affordable way to give someone a special treat. Here's a fun way to bring the outdoors in, literally. I'm gathering up a few river rocks from a nearby flower bed, along with some moss, tiny branches, and some smaller hens and chicks plants. 2 like-minded jars are being filled with some container soil, then the succulent is being planted first, followed by some carefully positioned rocks, moss, and sticks. Using a small paintbrush, I'm brushing off any soil from the contents, then misting the soil with a water sprayer since I didn't have a small watering can handy. And now I get to enjoy the outdoors inside my home thanks to these 2 mini terrariums. It's like getting free indoor plants, and they are compact enough to tuck anywhere desired. Speaking of terrariums, here's an antique version of the same concept. I'm dusting off an old crate and I had in my stash. I'm now filling up an antique jar about quarter ways up with very tiny antique nails and placing a faux succulent inside. I'm arranging where I want the bottle and the jar to go on the crate, then attaching them both with screws. Once installed onto the wall, I'm wiring another faux succulent, then inserting it through the soda bottle neck. And I now have a funky wall feature that showcases succulents in a very unique way. It's a fun way to implement plants as wall decor with a twist.
Once your jar candle is almost used up, let the candle cool and then pop it into the freezer for at least 2 hours. After that time, remove your candle jar from the freezer. With a simple butter knife, wedge the edge of the knife into the side of the remaining wax and gently lift up and down around the inside perimeter of the jar. Continue this until the wax begins to crack into pieces within the jar. Now soak the jar with some hot sudsy water and then wipe the inside of the jar with a cloth or sponge. You can use a commercial product to remove any stickers, but I usually find that hot water and a knife works just as well. Now you can fill your empty jar candle with anything you want. I filled this empty, clean jar with salt. If you have a jar candle with a lid, try this idea. Remove the candle wax in the same manner. Take the lid of the jar and place painter's tape around the side of the lid so only the top is exposed. Now spray paint the top of the lid in a well-ventilated area. Once dry, remove the painter's tape. Take a used wine cork and attach it to the top of the lid with some hot glue. Fill your new jar container with tea bags for easy yet pretty access when you want a cup of tea. Other ideas for your candle jar might include filling it with kitchen utensils and keeping it handy by the stovetop. Or place an empty jar candle on your bathroom counter to corral all of your makeup brushes. Thanks for watching Home Talk. I'll see you next time.
For these projects, either go to a thrift store or check your storage room, as you will need teacups and also a lid with a finial or handle on top. First, take a wick and attach it to a round sticker and stick to the bottom of the teacup. Place a popsicle stick with a hole in it on the top rim of the teacup and have the wick coming through the hole. Scoop 1 3/4 teacups full of wax and place in a pot. Heat the wax until it reaches a temperature between 158 and 176 degrees Fahrenheit. Prior to putting the wax in the teacup, heat the teacup up with boiling water. Now pour the hot wax in. Place a few sprigs of lavender on top or other dried flowers. It will take about 2 to 3 hours to set up. Simply wind the wire around the finial and then pull straight. Wrap the other end around a pen tightly by making several loops. Now insert a photo in between the loops and place in a favorite spot to enjoy. Flip the teacup upside down. Use E6000 glue and place a thin line of it on the bottom of the teacup. Place the saucer on top and make sure it is centered. This project can be used as a holder for sweets, as a jewelry holder, or you could even put a candle on it and use it as a candle holder. Look how beautiful all of these look together. They would be great decor pieces for a desk, shelf, or entry table.